Hi everyone. I'm taking a little break from my old format of talking about oldish unsolved cases or cases of children harmed by their parents or caretakers, and I'm visiting more recent cases for a while. So today we will have a chat about Sebastian Rogers, the 15-year-old autistic boy who disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Initially, although his father in particular was very involved in searches and popped up everywhere to bring attention to his son's plight, everything appeared decent and proper, particularly from the bio father's side. Now, with all due respect, I personally found the mother and stepfather's behavior very odd. Yes, the mother looked petrified and a bit teary during the first interview, but subsequently there had been little to no emotion from her. The stepfather, though, is another matter. I honestly don't know what to make of him, but have you ever had this instinctive reaction to somebody where you are actually repulsed and irritated by someone at first sight? Well, that sort of describes my first reaction to Chris Proudfoot, and that purely from watching him on a laptop screen. He appears to be very bombastic and aggressive, obviously suffering from Napoleon or short man syndrome. However, that does not make him a murderer or anything else for that matter. And you know what? I think if Sebastian had come to harm, I do not think Chris Proudfoot did it. But I do think he was likely the cause and the reason. Now, I know there are creators who are adamant that mom, stepdad, and dad are all innocent and have nothing to do with Sebastian's disappearance. Well, I do not agree. What they all seem to miss and keep forgetting is that Sebastian may technically have been a 15-year-old teenager, intelligent and high-functioning autistic, but he lived a very sheltered life, did not have friends, and thus did not grow emotionally and gradually into the teenage stages. I did some homework on Sebastian's, and emotionally, he would be about 10 years old or the equivalent of a 10-year-old emotionally. Regardless of the trauma he suffered at age 8 when he was SA'd by an older child, he would not have changed in maturity. And that is indeed why Sebastian does not really understand the nuances of what happened to him and why he has, on occasion, acted inappropriately and why he needs or needed the right therapy. For Sebastian, because of his emotional immaturity, pulling out his tool and showing it was a joke, or likely what the other kid did to him, and he thought it was okay, it's all a game. Sebastian was not necessarily being malicious or dirty. Now, taking that into consideration, would a 10-year-old go out in the pitch dark and stay out? Would a 10-year-old go out in the pitch dark barefoot and stay out? Would an intelligent 10-year-old decide to run away, be it because he's angry or upset, but barefoot, no money, no change of clothing, nothing? One set of clothes, that which he has on his body, no jacket and no shoes. I sincerely doubt it. My brother was only 5 when he decided to run away, and even he packed a little suitcase. No, I sincerely and honestly do not believe that Sebastian ran away. There was a story that Sebastian may have decided to go back to his old school and may have walked through the bushes and trees. Now remember, he may be immature, but he is still, according to his mother, highly intelligent. So I seriously doubt he would have had that in mind and leave not properly dressed and ready for school and without shoes. The only scenario in the runaway genre is if Sebastian was afraid of something. Was he afraid that someone was going to harm him or hurt him? That he was in trouble, so he ran out to hide somewhere and go back later when the situation has cooled down a bit? I think it is indeed a possibility, as if I read between the lines, he has done that before. One of the neighbors actually found him hiding under a car once, allegedly. But why would a neighbor dream up such a story? I can't see why, so I think it is likely true. So who or what was Sebastian hiding from on that particular day? Was he hiding from Chris, or was he hiding from his mother? Are we forgetting that his mother, Katie, has a military background, and we know nothing about her family either? Katie has a history, apparently, allegedly, and it is likely why she ended up in the military, to keep her out of trouble. But she got used to the discipline, so did she try to get Sebastian to toe the line like she had to? Chris Proudfoot admitted to hitting Sebastian with a belt, and that is yet another reason why I'm saying I believe Chris did not physically or first-hand cause Sebastian's disappearance. Whatever happened, Chris did not do it himself or physically, okay? Maybe there was an involvement after the fact, but I sincerely doubt Chris was involved in the moment, whatever happened. Besides, a work colleague did state that he was at work the next morning, and allegedly he clocked in at about 5:15. Now, could he have gone home and back in one night? I guess so, but think for a moment. 3 to 3.5 hours home, abduct or harm a child, or drop him off with someone or somewhere, or get rid of the remains, and then, whatever he did, drive back 3 to 3.5 hours. Now, it is definitely possible, but is it likely? Is that why Chris was at work at 5:15 instead of just before 7? Was it because he knew it was not worth the effort to go to sleep for an hour or two? I don't know how likely that would be. Possible, but is it likely? But I digressed. I think if Chris Proudfoot harmed or killed Sebastian, he would not have admitted to hitting Sebastian with a belt. Now, I don't think Chris Proudfoot is the brightest button on the jersey, but he is not stupid either. He would not, in my opinion, have blabbed about hurting Sebastian if he was the one who hurt him. I don't know whether that makes sense to you, but I hope it does. What we have not heard, however, not from Chris, the stepfather, or from Seth, the bio-dad, or then Katie, the mom herself, is whether she ever smacked Sebastian, or pinched him, or kicked him, or threw something at him. Does she look to you like someone who does not have a temper? We all have a temper, even the meekest of us. But Katie is not meek and mild. She was in the military. She still does a job which requires a measure of physical strength. Katie is also onto her second husband. And from what I hear, both husbands, both Chris and Seth, have or had a measure of PTSD after their time in the military. But what about Katie? If I heard correctly, Katie was indeed deployed once, or maybe twice, I don't know. But if true, if she saw combat, regardless of what her role was, you want to tell me she just floated through it and did not suffer emotional consequences? Why are the two men, Chris and Seth, talking about their issues and actions? Why are they in the forefront, particularly Chris, who is number one, the stepfather, and number two was allegedly not even there? Where is Katie, the woman who gave birth to this boy? Why does it appear that both men are protecting her? Okay, now one other thing, and I'm mentioning this thanks to JLR who picked up on it. Many people or creators are arguing about whether Sebastian's case is still treated as a missing person or runaway scenario by law enforcement, or whether it has evolved into a criminal investigation. Well, it is JLR's opinion that, as Chris said, Seth watched that restaurant footage of Sebastian and Katie leaving the restaurant in the presence of the DA, district attorney, and others, but in particularly the district attorney, that it is now a criminal investigation. Well, I know very little about United States law, etc., but I asked. Remember, I have another channel with many American subscribers, and I was told that if the district attorney is involved, it is more than likely now a crime, or it is being investigated as a crime. So what does law enforcement know that we don't? Have they found more than they are telling us? Then, of course, there is the picture of a blonde woman with a boy who looks a lot like Sebastian. Stepdad said it's not. 100% not Sebastian. Mom Katie says she can't be sure and is waiting for law enforcement to confirm one way or the other. Biodad Seth now has two PIs, and the one PI said that in her opinion it could be Sebastian, but they are also preferring to wait for law enforcement. Now, I've looked at one photo after the other of Sebastian, but truly, because the boy in the other picture walks with his head down, I just cannot tell. They look very similar, but, maybe no dice. I truly hope that it is Sebastian, but am I excited that it will be? No, I'm sorry. I indeed hope I'm wrong and it is him, but let's leave it there. The last thing I want to address is a video by Jay is for Justice. She did a brilliant job and used that security video footage, enlarged the background, and instead of analyzing the lights, she analyzed the black shadows. And goodness, I obviously don't know for sure, but maybe her and I are both crazy. But before she even explained what she saw, I saw exactly what she then afterwards said she saw, namely three people looking at the screen on the left. It appears to be a female, a tallish female, with her hair in a bun or a high ponytail, and on the right appears to be a thick-set man, and in the middle is someone smaller than either one of them, down on the ground, maybe sitting or crouching, and judging by the movement of the male shadow on the right, It looks like he is hitting the figure in the middle. Now, I was really knocked out, flabbergasted that J is for Justice came up after showing the footage 2 or 3 times and said the exact same things. I really hope she sent a copy of her video to law enforcement. We may all be deluded for all I know, but maybe not. TBI and FBI should be able to do even more with the footage to define and refine it. And if it is what it looks like, then Katie and a second person have serious, serious questions to answer. Now, okay, ladies and gentlemen, if the rest of my week goes as planned, I am likely going to bombard you with stories, cases, and opinions, as I still want to say 1 or 2 things about Brian Koberger. And now that the medical examiner's report is out on Suzanne Morphew, I would like to revisit that case as well, because I got into terrible fights about that particular case, and I can see the same thing happening again. And on top of that, my daughter has already prepared a couple of old cases for me, so every spare moment will be spent here over the next week or two. So, my dears, I will see you back here soon. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.